Welcome back, family travelers. We're so excited to be here today. We're at Acadia National Park, and this has been a bucket list item, well, since we started liking going to national parks a year ago. We have an aggressive schedule planned today. We're gonna check out Thunder Hole, Cadillac Mountain, the sandy beach. We're gonna drive around, we're gonna get some lobster ice cream, maybe. Who knows? Hopefully. Probably. But anyway, this is the first stop, and judging by all the cars here, and there are a billion of them, this seems to be a popular spot.
We have made it to Thunder Hole, so we're here, I think it's about an hour and a half before high tide, and you're supposed to come between 1 to 2 hours before high tide, because that is when the roar is the loudest. The splash can get to like 40 feet, they say, which creates the biggest roar, but it just kind of like, it's just a luck game when you're here and how big the roar is. But that is why they call it Thunder Hole, because of the loud thunderous sound it makes. It's also pretty big after a storm, so if you're brave to come after a storm.
Cool, huh?
So Thunder Hole was amazing, as promised. We're on to our next stop. There's no slowing down for us today because we have a very aggressive, non-stop timeline to make sure we can get as much done today as possible. So we are headed to Cadillac Mountain next. It's actually the tallest point on the East Coast, which is pretty cool. You do have to make reservations currently if you want to drive up to the mountain. If you hike, you don't have to make reservations, but I think it might be like a 4-mile hike there, so depending on what you want to do. We are opting to drive since we have 2 small children, and I believe Cadillac Mountain is about a half hour from Thunder Hole. Most of that is because you have to drive kind of slow on these roads all throughout Acadia. We have an 11:30 and it's 11 right now.
Oh, look at that view.
Woo-woo!
I think it's right over there, yeah.
That guy is brave.
Harry, we've reached the top.
Did you climb? Did you climb?
Yeah. Ready? Stop.
Show your jumping skills.
Okay, let's see it.
Whoa!
Oh.
Watch Daddy's jumping skills.
Okay, let's see it. Wow! Man crushed it!
Next Olympian.
Ready?
Go!
Jump.
Jump.
We're only 1,700 feet up, and this is the first place that sunlight touches on the East Coast in the United States.
That's pretty cool. We didn't come
Right?
for sunrise. We weren't that brave to get
No.
up that early, but
No,
you
we
can
go to sleep.
if you are that brave.
You could come out for sunrise, and we hear it's amazing. But
Yes. Coming up for sunrise, I think, is so popular that they have a separate reserved ticket that you need for it. So there's like a daytime ticket where you select your time, or there's a sunrise ticket. So I think the sunrise gets pretty popular. If you want to do that, you probably need to get your ticket as soon as they come out, because I imagine, a lot of people who wake up earlier than us do it.
okay.
Go.
What do you guys think of that out there? Do you like looking at the view, or do you like climbing the rocks?
Climbing.
Yeah. I love it here because aside from a few little areas here and there, there's not much blocked off. So there's all these little rocks and you can climb any which way, and it's not like strict trails per se. There's just like, if there are areas where they don't want people going through like the vegetation, then they'll block it off. But for the most part, you have kind of free reign just to climb all over the rocks, and that's really cool because the kids just love it. Olivia is such a little daredevil. Of course, she had to go to the furthest possible spot. How was the view on the top of the world? Great?
It was like so nice.
So nice.
It's pretty spectacular, but clearly not as spectacular as rock jumping.
Right?
By George, we've made it. And instead of walking through a parking lot that would have taken us about, say a minute and a half, we walked a mile. So took a nice little hike. So don't follow the signs because the signs were wrong. You know, make sure you know where you're going.
On the plus side, this section that we walked into appears to be a little bit more roomy. There's less people here, whereas the little section right off the parking lot is super crowded. So even if you do come through the parking lot, just head on down further a little ways and you'll have lots of space over here. Here's where we came in at. So you can see there's not a ton of people here. And then over there is where the parking lot is, and there's tons of people over there. And this is your backdrop. You have the beach and the water.
Nope, come on over here.
And then you have the mountains back there.
How cold?
It's cold?
Yeah.
So that's it? All right, we had to get proof that we actually went in the water because this probably is going to be the only time we go in the water, actually, because it's very, very cold. It's like ice cubes. I think this is the coldest water by far that I've ever been in my life.
No. Mirror Lake.
Okay, there was one time when I jumped in a lake in the middle of November. That happened too, but it's neither here nor there. Let's test the water out. That's how cold it is. If you've seen some of our other videos on this trip, you know that we tend to, let's say, forget things when we go to the beach. So today we came to Sand Beach and we forgot our beach toys. Olivia, being the outgoing, inventive girl that she is, she took a cup from her fruit from her lunch and she joined in with the neighboring party. So that's what we're doing now.
Those are the stairs that had we just taken in the first place, we wouldn't have had to have walked a mile. Say, Olivia.
All right, after a fun beach excursion, we have our next activity ready to go. So if you thought we were done with lobster, you would be wrong. But this time we have kind of a unique way to eat lobster. So we're driving over there now and we'll show you what it is in just a second. We just drove to the little downtown area just outside of Acadia. It's called Bar Harbor, and the place that we're going is known for a little lobster specialty. So the place is called Ben and Bill's Chocolate Emporium, and they make all kinds of sweet treats, but we're here for the ice cream, and the lobster ice cream is their specialty. So I think we're gonna give that a try, and then we'll probably try another kind of Maine local favorite. But it's a popular place here in the downtown area. There's shops and there's restaurants and bars and all kinds of things to do down here. So it looks like a fun place to hang out, but we're here for the ice cream. Right, Livy?
Yeah.
Let's do it. This one's whoopie pie, and this one is lobster.
So we're eating from the car because Everett's asleep. So this is quite the experience. Lobster ice cream from a car.
Try some.
Well, yeah, let me have a bite first. So, I don't know what I expected, but there's like chunks of lobster in this.
Yeah,
I like legitimately thought it was like, you know, like they run it through the ice cream machine and it's kind of like pureed or whatever. No, this is like lobster chunks.
Is it good or is it sweet? Come on, give us something.
You want something? It's like butter ice cream. So it's like
Well,
you get a lot of the butter notes and a little bit of the lobster, and then the frozen chunks of lobster feels very strange.
Is it like?
But it's good. I mean, I like it.
Is it weird consistency wise? Do you get chunks of lobster?
No, because it's frozen, so it's kind of like almost like frozen fruit.
So which
Can
kind
I-
of ice cream did you get, Livy?
whoopie pie ice
You
cream.
got whoopie pie ice cream.
And
Okay.
Dad got lobster.
And Olivia's whoopie pie ice cream
Oh, that's
has
good.
actual pieces of whoopie pie in it. Is
That
it
is
just like the
delightful.
whoopie pie you ate a couple days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And him. Like, look, I got a whole.
It does taste, to me it tastes like, I mean, vanilla ice cream. I think
Yeah, it's like
is what
buttercream.
they, yeah, it's like, you know, And they mix it with chunks of lobster, but it's lobster ice cream.
Let's do this.
Right behind Everett and I is Bar Island. So, as I mentioned before, we are in the town of Bar Harbor. And Bar Island is just at the edge of Bar Harbor. So this was actually kind of like right around the corner from the ice cream shop. This is another one of those occasions where you need to know your high tide and your low tide times, because in order to walk across to the island, you can only access it an hour and a half before low tide and an hour and a half after low tide. If you're across there and you're not in that time frame, you're stranded. Nick, what are you doing? If the tide starts coming in, the walkway will be covered and you won't be able to get back over to kind of like the mainland area. And you're stranded over there for 9 hours because that's when the next low tide is. So do yourself a favor and just do the math, look up the times ahead of time, and come during the times where you can just walk right across.
We got us some crab.
That's a big guy. Look at him.
Wow.
This is the land bridge. Apparently, this goes up really high, like another 10 or 11 feet during high tide. But during low tide, you can walk all the way over to the island. Just, you know, don't miss your chance.
Here's where we came from. Here's where we are. Here's where we wanted to end up. There's also all these little tide pools in here, and this one is just like filled to the brim with shells. So if you're trying to do some shelling, this is a good spot for it because they are everywhere.
He's taken to standing next to us and then jumping and splashing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a whole live clam. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, you want to put him back down?
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Because I want to let it grow.
That's a good plan.
It's kind of interesting because Bar Harbor is technically outside of Acadia, but Bar Island is part of Acadia National Park. Isn't that interesting? You can just walk you can walk right in without even having to pay.
Huh. But we are card-carrying annual pass
We are.
members,
We have the America the Beautiful Pass, and we've gotten our use out of it this year. I will say one thing that's kind of different, aside from a lot of things, but between Acadia and Rocky Mountain National is that we haven't seen a ton of wildlife here other than the marine kind, but we did see a deer that ran across from us and a turkey today, so.
I don't think it was a turkey, actually. I think it was a pheasant.
Might be a pheasant. I don't know. It was a turkey pheasant looking thing, so.
I got it
We
down.
captured a crab.
Let me see him. Look at him.
Get it on.
Hi, buddy.
Because I'm about to let it go.
Do it.
Not yet.
Well, we made it, and we did not get stuck on the other side of the island, so that's always a plus. But we have one more stop before we get back to the camper. It's almost dinner time, so we have one little treat left. If you thought we were done with lobster, you would be wrong.
We're stopping and getting more lobster from Tracy's. It's like literally right outside the campground, which is like, it's perfect. So we're gonna go grab our lobster rolls and the burger for the kids, and then I'm gonna take it back to the campsite and eat, because I am starving after a day of being at the park. Hot dog.
I want to see the lobster. Can I see the lobster?
This appears to be a cold lobster roll.
Oh, wow, I was expecting warm. Okay.
And there's some sort of a dressing on it. I gotta decide which side I want to bite first. A big chunk of tail meat on this side, but there's claw on this side. So I think I'm gonna start with claw.
Okay.
It's good, Daddy.
Oh, that's delightful. This is as good as the one previously we had.
Okay, but I need to know hot or cold.
Oh, I like the cold.
You like the cold?
I like the cold.
Okay.
The dressing's nice. It's got some cabbage in there for some crunch. Nice toasted bun. Yep, this is very, very nice.
And mine is very nice too.
And yours is really nice too? Good. These are, I didn't know if I was gonna like the cold. I figured I would be very much on board with the hot, but not so much the cold. It's actually quite nice. It's refreshing, and I do like the creamy whatever kind of dressing is on there. It's good. It's a smaller kind of lobster roll. We got them, what was it, 2 for $25?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you're not gonna get like a pound of lobster, but I think you get a fair amount. I mean, it's just enough to kind of fill you up maybe for a lunch, or maybe a dinner and something else. You what? A burger? One thing to note, the 2 for $25 special does not take away from the freshness of it. It is super fresh and as good as any. It's, one that's right by the campground. It's like a true seafood shack, and I highly recommend it because it's a great deal and it's so fresh and you will not be disappointed. Unless you only like warm lobster rolls, but I think go for the cold. Hopefully you enjoyed our day at Acadia. It was action-packed, that's for sure. We squeezed in a lot. I feel like probably if we came back, I would maybe try to do it in more days because we tried to squeeze in a ton of stuff into one day. But it was still a great day, and you can do it in a day if you need to, so don't be afraid of that. But we are very tired because while it was a fun day, it was also exhausting. So we're gonna do a little chill here at the campground and then probably call it an early night. If you enjoyed our day, make sure you like the video and subscribe for all of our other adventures. Specifically, we have more to come from this trip. Until next time, good night.